Tefo his-tory channel. My name is Catharina Magrietha Kruger and I will be telling you the story behind the his-tory of the great Zulu king, King Shaka. So sit back, firstly grab yourself a cup of coffee, sit back and let's start his-torying around. Now, if we look at our Bantu people of South Africa, there are four major groups. Firstly, it is the Ngunis. Secondly, is the Sotho-speaking people. And then it is the Shangaan or the Tsongas. And lastly, the Vendas. I'm going to focus mostly today on the Ngunis, or especially the Zulu nation. Everything that I will tell you today was through oral history, and the one generation told the other a story, a legend of their people, from where they came from. Now, originally, according to the legends and the oral traditions, the Nguni people came all the way from West Africa. Today, if you would have a look at the map of Africa, it would be roundabout in Nigeria. The Nguni were cattle herders, and their cows were even called the Nguni cows. So probably in the 11th century, it got very crowded in West Africa. There were too many people and too little ground for them to let their animals graze, that they needed to search for new grazing ground. They couldn't move to the north because north of the area of Nigeria, you would find the Sahara Desert. That was a huge barrier to these people. They couldn't move directly south because the Congo River as well as the rainforest were also a barrier. So they had to move in an easterly direction, southeasterly direction, and they landed up in an area which they called Embo. Today, that would be in the area of Uganda and Kenya. There the Nguni people also lived until it got once again crowded and they needed land for their animals, and so they had to start moving again. The only route south that they could follow was through the Rift Valley, through present-day Mozambique, and they landed up in the area of Eswatini or Swaziland, as well as Zululand, and then also the Xhosas went all the way down to the Eastern Cape area. Now, who were the Nguni people? Today, we can say there are four groups that is classified Nguni people. That would be the Zulus, the Xhosas, the Ndebele, and the Swazis. Previously, they were not nations or different groups. They were different clans or family groups. For instance, there was a Zulu family. There was the Ndwandwes, the Ndlaminis, Ntwetwas, and a whole bunch of other clans or little groups of family members that moved from the Embo Mountains down south. It was only under Dingizwayo of the Ntwetwas and the Zwide of the Ndwandwes, and then lastly Shaka Zulu of the Zulu people, who united or won the smaller groups of people over in battle, and then they became the mighty Zulu nation at the end. But let me first tell you a little bit more about the Zulus. Bom 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 Bayeti Mkosi Bayeti Mkosi. The Zulu nation was only founded in 1816. They were once the most powerful nation in Africa, and through their songs of praise one can trace them back 12 generations when Chief Malandela decided to move from the Embo Mountains down south through the Rift Valley to the area of which we know today is Zulu land. That was in the late 17th century. Malandela had a son, and his name was Zulu Kamalandela. Zulu means heaven, and Kamalandela means son of Malandela. So he became the new chief, and it was under his rule that his clan took the name Zulu in respect for their chief. After Chief Zulu followed Chief Magabe, Punga, Jama, Ndaba, and it was only in the 18th century when Chief kaSenzangakhona Kajama became the chief of the Zulus. kaSenzangakhona Kajama was born in 1762, and he was seen as the father of the Zulus. For 3 of his sons, Shaka kaSenzangakhona, Dengan kaSenzangakhona, and Mpande kaSenzangakhona, 3 of his sons became kings of the Zulu nation. When Zenzangakhona came to rule the Zulu people, they were a very small tribe, around about 1,500 people. They lived in harmony with all the other neighboring clans. Clans like the Elangenis. Interesting enough, the Elangenis were closely related to the Zulu clan, for Zenzangakhona's mother was an Elangeni. The young men of the Zulu clan were forbidden to marry an Elangeni girl for obvious reasons, and this is where the trouble started. For you see, one day the young chief Zenzangakhona went down to the river with a few of his men, and what did they see? Some young girls of the Elangeni people taking a bath in the river. And oh my word, there was the most beautiful young Elangeni girl. She was the daughter of the chief of the Elangeni clan. Her name was Nandi, the sweet one. And Nandi's eyes and Zenzangakhona's eyes locked, and they fell madly in love. Nandi sang a song, Wemsheli wami, wangibuka umnyanya, zungumbula hlaupela manya. Speak to me softly, speak to me slowly, speak to no one, speak to me only. And had a brief affair at the river. Nandi went back to her clan, the Elangeni people, and Zenzangakhona went back to his group of people, the Zulus. But there was one big problem. Nandi was pregnant. Although Nandi and Zenzangakhona was in love, they couldn't marry because they were closely related. So, after she had fell pregnant, a messenger from the Elangeni clan was sent to the Zulus to tell Zenzangakhona, you made Nandi pregnant, and that he had to marry Nandi now, and that he owes the chief of the Elangeni people, the father of Nandi, he owed him a dowry of cows. Cows? Remember, in those days, to pay a dowry, it had to be paid in cows. Cows were worth a lot. Nguni cows. Not only did Zenzangakhona had to answer to all his other wives, he had also broken the trust between the two clans. And he tried to buy himself some time, and he said, no way. There were no incest, and she can't be pregnant. It must be the stomach beetle or the stomach bug, Ushaka. Now, the stomach bug or beetle was seen as a beetle that was in the intestine and that made your stomach to swell and also keep menstruation away. So he told the Elangeni messenger, listen, Nandi's got the ushaka in her stomach. She's not pregnant. Surprise, surprise. 9 months later, ushaka, the stomach or intestine beetle, was born. This time, the Elangenis had sent another messenger all the way to the Zulus to tell kaSenzangakhona he better marry Nandi and come and fetch her and her baby, ushaka. The stomach beetle or the intestine beetle. kaSenzangakhona was furious. He felt ashamed and he named his boy Sigidi kaSenzangakhona. But the name that stuck was stomach beetle, ushaka. Then without any celebrations, kaSenzangakhona was forced to marry Nandi. She was brought all the way from the Elangenis to the Zulu people. Then, without any big celebrations, kaSenzangakhona married Nandi. And when she was taken from her clan to the Zulus, Nandi demanded 55 heads of cattle to be paid to the Elangenis as a dowry. When she arrived at the Zulus, they looked at her like, what did you do, Nandi? With shame, for she caused this huge shame on the Zulu clan of incest. A little boy was not even treated well, and she had to take the place of a very low-ranking third wife of kaSenzangakhona. Unfortunately, Shaka was as badly treated as his mother and bullied by all the other children. The only person that he could trust and turn to was his mother. One day, he was looking after his father's sheep as a herdsboy. He was only 6 years old. A dog came and attacked one of the sheep and killed it. Oh, kaSenzangakhona had enough. He was furious. He told the Nandi and the boy Shaka, I don't want to see you ever again in my life. You better go away. I want to get rid of you and leave my kraal or my homestead immediately. Shaka, you cost me sheep, and that was money. And Nandi, the other wives don't like you, and you're causing me a lot of trouble. Goodbye and good riddance. So the young boy Shaka and his mother Nandi fled, and they were staying in the bushes, and at one stage they thought, let us go back to the Elangeni people, Nandi's people. They thought maybe they would be treated well there. But when they arrived at the Elangeni tribe, her father's people, they were as badly treated as the Zulus had treated them. They also brought a shame to the Elangeni people because of the incest. And now the Elangeni had to give the dowry back to the Zulus because Nandi is no longer staying with the Zulus but staying with the Elangenis. When Shaka was 15 years of age, Nandi and Shaka once again fled. They fled away from the Elangeni tribe and they went to her aunt's people or her aunt's clan, the Matwetwas. They were a very strong tribe or clan and their leader's name was Dingizwayo. And Dingizwayo said, Nandi, you can still come and live here with us. Still you're a beautiful lady and I will teach Shaka how to become a very strong leader. And one day he can go back to the Zulu people and take over the throne. This is also where Shaka became a proud man under the rule of the Mtwetwa people and Dingizwayo. It was here that he grew into the man and warrior as we know Shaka. Now, Dingiswayo was this fierce chief of the Mthethwa clan. And by that stage, you had already round about 15 tribes, like a federation that he took underneath his wing of the Mthethwa clan. A great military figure as well. And he had his eye on Shaka. When Shaka was only 16 years of age, he was a Mthethwa herdsboy. And he looked after the flock of Mthethwas. It is said one day there was a leopard attacking the flock. Barehandedly, Shaka killed the leopard and he got the attention of Dingiswayo. The fight once again between the different clans started to rise because of a lack of grazing ground. And Dingiswayo then decided to start a youth regiment to incorporate them into his military force. And when Shaka was 21, Dingiswayo said, "It is time to rise, my boys. You are called now the Izikwe, Bushmen, and you will start fighting." In those days, the fight between two clans would be both would rock up and stand round about 30 meters out of each other, and then threw the throwing spears towards each other. The throwing spear was called the isipapa. Isipapa. So when you throw it through the air, it goes pa, 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 pa. That's why it was called the isipapa. Now, when Shaka got his uniform and his weapons, he got 3 isipapa, a shield, and his uniform was cow tails or ox tails that was white around his arms and around his legs. He had a skirt on with that was actually made of strips of ox skin, and then he had cowhide sandals on. Shaka looked at this attire and also his weapons, and he said, "This is a little bit stupid. You know, if you have an assegai or isipapa in your hand, you would throw it towards your enemy. If you don't kill your enemy, they would use your own weapon, your isipapa, and throw it back at you." That was a little bit stupid. And then he thought each evening about how can he better the skills. And then his regiment, he was the leader of his youth regiment. He went to an ironsmith and he told him, "Please make me a broad blade, short handled spear. And then you can have the spear the whole time in your hand while fighting and not throw it towards your enemy and lose your weapon." And he called this spear the itwa. Now this is the sound this weapon makes. If it enters the enemy's body, the enemy goes ee, and if you pull it out, it goes twa. Then Shaka also said, "It is also stupid fighting each other with a distance in between us. I would start attacking my enemy in close range. Take my shield, hook it underneath their shields, pull it away, and then take my stabbing spear or itwa and kill my enemy." He also said, running around with these cowhide sandals, he can't do it. And then he took it off and he said, well, running barefoot, then he have more mobility and he can maneuver wherever he wants to go. So he left his sandals. Dingiswayo thought this guy was crazy. But at one stage, Shaka's regiment, the youth regiment, attacked in the way that Shaka said. He ran in front, then his friends behind him, and then behind his friends, there was also his whole regiment that went in for the attack in close range, hooked away their shields and stabbing them with the close range isipapa. And they won the Buthelezis. The Buthelezis, very strong clan. By winning the Buthelezis, Dingiswayo praised Shaka. Shaka could do the victory dance in front of everybody. He also had given him his own regiment, and Shaka became the commander of 100 men. And Dingiswayo also gave him 10 cows. By now, Shaka was training these 100 men of his, and they became a fighting machine. Shaka was a lean, tall guy and full of muscles. Shaka also invented this new attacking formation, which we nowadays know as the bull head formation or the buffalo head formation. He said, firstly, when you go into battle, your indunas or your older skilled men, they will be the head of the buffalo. They would attack first. Secondly, the two horn parts of the buffalo head, they would be the younger men. They would run around the enemy. And the third part of the attacking formation would be closing the circle around the enemy. And they were trapped in the middle of your attacking formation, and you kill them. So this is how Shaka and his regiment took over a lot of clans underneath the umbrella of the Mthethwa people. Shaka performed so well with this 100 men of his, the fighting machine of Shaka, that Mthethwa chief Dingiswayo saw it, and he made him the commander of his whole army. Now Shaka then was with the Mthethwas and the commander of the army for 6 years. And then the news came. kaSenzangakhona of the Zulu people passed away in 1816. My dear history lovers, this was then the story behind the his-tory of Shaka Zulu. Please join me next time for the second part of Shaka Zulu's story, of how he became the king of the Zulu nation. Enjoy your coffee further, and happy historying around. Oh, remember, please hit subscribe, like and share. And please comment on this video. See you next time. Ciao.